time now to discuss the premier flat race run anywhere in the world. It is the Epsom Derby. First run over the Epsom Downs in 1780, and I think that's a point worth touching on. Flat racing in particular has gone global in recent years, with some of the premier races around the world run for $5 or $10 million, but you can't beat tradition. This is the main race anywhere that can be run, and the race that everyone wants to win, and in particular Godolphin. Now the Godolphin Blue have never been carried to a Derby winner, amazingly. Lamtara, who won it in 95, was trained by Bin Saru after the tragic death of his young trainer Alex Scott. But this is something they're desperate to achieve, and in Dawn Approach they've got their best chance ever. An emphatic winner of the 2,000 guineas, a perfect 7 from 7, and in my opinion a massive price at 7 to 4. I think we should be shorter. We're not. The trading boys are ruling the roost. Now I advise you and anyone else, give us a call and get on at 7 to 4, because he'll definitely be going off shorter on the day.
I am quite surprised that he's around the same price now as what he was before he won the 2,000 guineas to win the 2,000, obviously. He absolutely crushed them last time. He doesn't do things very flashy. He's not that sort of horse, but it doesn't make him any worse for it. He was on the go all last season, won every race. There is a doubt about the trip, but he's by New Approach, who obviously won the Derby. His trainer's not as confident, but I always think that you should just be a little careful about what Jim Bolger says in public.
Understatement of the century.
Yeah. But I think that he's obviously a worthy favourite, especially given that a lot of those around him in the market have got a lot to prove, and I don't think there's any standout from the O'Brien yard this year in particular. I think he's a very worthy favourite, and like Luke says, I can see him going off around 11 to 10 even, something like that.
Same, I can see him going off evens. Jim Bolger knows how good this horse is. You know, if it was his own horse and he was training it himself, then he could have the full confidence behind it. But he's doing a job for someone else unusually. He's got that 51% share, but Godolphin have got 49. And it's important to respect that. And I think the reason he's been slightly negative about it, or not overly bullish per se, is because he realises he's got to do half the job for someone else, and he's slightly covering his own back there. But for me, I think he knows plenty well just how good this horse is. There's 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 others entered. I don't think any of them really worth anywhere near as much as a mention of this. There are other horses that we do need to mention. The other second joint favourite is Battle of Marengo, and this is a decent horse. He's won 5 of his 6 starts. He won a Group 2 impressively at Leopardstown, as I like to call it last time out, and I think he warrants being second favourite, unlike Telescope.
Yeah, at least Battle of Marengo's been out there and done it in the trials. I mean, he won the Ballet Sacks. I mean, it was a couple of days ago, won the Derringstown. He was quite workmanlike that, but it was an alright race, really. I mean, the second's quite a decent yardstick. He does look the main protagonist from the O'Brien yard, but it's one of those years where O'Brien seems to be throwing quite a lot of darts at the classics, which suggests to me that there's not a standout horse amongst them. And I think that he seems quite similar to, if you remember a few years back, Jan Vermeer, who went off 11 to 4 or so for the Derby, and I mean, he didn't do anything in the Derby, he didn't do anything after that. I think that Battle of Marengo's clearly probably a better horse than he is, but again, he's got to take on genuine Group 1 horses now on decent ground, and I think that he's still got something to prove. Well,
I think that is a point that it's a general talking point in the racing industry at the moment, whether O'Brien does know which one is best horses for all these different races. He seems to have a lot of decent horses, but no standout this year. Battle of Marengo at 5, Ruler of the World at 10, Ruler of the World impressive winner at Chester last time out. He's done nothing wrong. Looks like he'll definitely get the trip. I think Ruler of the World would be better value at 10s.
Yeah, he won very well last time at Chester. I think that he's clearly rapidly progressing, but I just think as well he didn't run as a 2-year-old, and it's quite strange to see a horse that make its seasonal debut as a 3-year-old go on to win one of the trials and then to be thrown straight into the Derby. It's a big ask, and I think Ruler of the World, he might just, in hindsight, if we look back at this race in a year's time, he might just be the premier O'Brien pacemaker in the race. I mean, I'm not trying to denigrate his performances so far, but he again, I think this is a totally different kettle of fish to the race that he won at Chester last week. I think it's a much stronger affair.
Well, if we chuck in one more Mars, which I think sums up the whole O'Brien team this year, 6th in the Guineas, great performance, but they're not in it for 6th in the Guineas, are they? You know, 99% out of trainers out there would be delighted with the 6th in the Guineas. For them, that is seen as a failure, because They haven't got this real standout top class horse. And 10-1 Mars, another one not for me. And it all leads back to the favourite. He is the one standout horse out there this year. I think the public will latch on to that. The big hitters will come out in force. And I firmly believe 7-4 will not be there come 3:15 Derby Day or whatever time it goes off.
I think that's a very fair point. I think that Dawn Approach is obviously a very worthy favourite. He should arguably be shorter, as Luke says. I mean, we're just glancing down the list now, thinking of others to mention. And I mean, you've got horses that finish behind it in the Guineas that I can't see them appreciating the extra distance enough to turn the form around with Dawn Approach. That's if Dawn Approach regresses for a mile and a half. One at a price again. Though, it's just an O'Brien horse that I could see maybe going off, third, fourth fab is Indian Chief. I think he's got a very good turn of foot, and but that's about it really.
For me, it is the favourite. I don't enjoy tipping up short price things, but we're top industry price. I suggest you come and get it. It's 08,000, 5-1, 3-1, but with whatever you back the Derby, it is a great race, and let's hope it's a race to remember.